Hey everybody, welcome back to Prison Wife Diaries. My name is Allie and I'm glad to have you here. I hope everybody is having a great start to their weekend. Before I jump into today's episode, I do just want to tell you about some good news that I actually meant to mention in my last video, and I'm still kind of nervous when I'm recording these, so I totally forgot until it was all done. And that is the fact that I have finally arranged to be tested for autism. And I have suspected it for a long time now, but back when I was a kid, I was 5 years old, I was diagnosed with ADHD and still have a pretty severe ADHD. But, at the time, they didn't realize that autism was a spectrum. It was just either you were or you weren't. Like, you were profoundly autistic or you weren't. So the last company that I worked for a few months ago, I had tried to get it approved, and they wouldn't cover any of it. And the total cost of that is around $2,000, which of course I don't have, and especially with the price of gas right now, you guys have seen it. It's almost $5 a gallon here. I know it's higher other places. So, needless to say, I had to just kind of put the brakes on that at that time. But recently I bought a plan through the health insurance marketplace, which is actually much better. And so I called the clinic back and I asked them to try having it pre-approved again. And not only that, I did go through the actual insurance document and made sure that it was covered on my own. But they got back to me and said, hey, yeah, it's approved except for a $70 copay at each of the 3 visits, which still kind of a little bit of money, but it's a lot easier to come up with than $2,000. And it's over the course of about, 5 or 6 weeks. So I'm kind of excited about what that's going to show. And I have had people actually in my life tell me that you can't be autistic. You function too well. And I gotta tell you, I fake a lot. Over time, especially being an autistic woman, you learn to not talk to people and just fake a lot. So, spend the day in my head. You'll see what I mean. So, that was my big news. It's something I'm really excited about. My first actual appointment is on the 8th. So, that's just kind of an initial appointment meeting with the psychiatrist. And then in another about 4 weeks or 3 weeks, I'll have the actual testing done. So, I feel good about that. To just, jump right into today's topic, then what I wanted to talk about is red flags that you should look for if you are looking to get to know, or write to an inmate or somebody who's incarcerated. The first warning sign or red flag that I would look for is somebody who either comes on really strong and tells you they love you right away and showers you with affection, especially if you're just getting to know them. But on the other side, and drawing from my own personal experience, there are people that they'll show you affection and all of that, but they'll string you along, not really wanting to commit. And like I said, that's from personal experience. One of the first inmates that I started talking to, I came to see him in person a few times, and he was always really sweet and give me a hug and a kiss, and but he kept saying, well, I don't want to be a girlfriend right now, blah blah blah, and eventually I got sick and tired of it, and I said, to heck with it, to heck with you, I'm not doing this anymore. And Turned out the whole time he had a girlfriend. So that really explains a lot. But definitely watch out for that. Another warning sign that I would look for is somebody who is manipulative and gets angry at you when you don't do what they want you to. I was in a position where I was getting to know a fellow and he kept asking me for money. And this is somebody who came from a position where he was, had been in a lot better off than I have ever been, and so coming up with it was a real struggle. So apologies if you heard that. That's my kitty. But he'd say things like, well, I borrowed $40 from another guy and now I need to pay them back or I'm going to get my crap beat out of me. Well, eventually I put my foot down on it. I said, no, I'm not sending you any more money. And what do you know? He stopped talking to me completely. Never heard from him again. He tried to call me. Actually, he tried to have his mother call me when he wanted to get in touch with a friend of his who wasn't answering him, and I laughed. I laughed my butt off, and I wrote to him, and I said, you got a lot of balls, thinking that you can call, or just that I'm just going to jump and come running because you asked. I said, no. I said, I will give you a second chance, but I am not giving you any money. And what do you know? I never heard from him again. Not after that point. So anybody who will cut you off or get angry with you for not sending them money or for not doing anything else they want you to do, to be honest, they want you to buy stuff for them or, whatever the case may be. Another red flag that I would look out for, seriously, is somebody who asks you to do things that are illegal or against person policy. Another example of this that I've gotten from somebody I know is that a guy who, I don't know if he asked his girlfriend or if she just did it on her own, but she brought in tattoo needles, got them to him, and he ended up getting caught with them and in a whole bunch of trouble. Somebody's going to ask you to sneak in drugs or other contraband that they're not supposed to have, or do other things that might be against the rules. That would be a big red flag. Anybody who truly cares about you is not going to ask you to do things that could get you in trouble. The last red flag that I want to talk about is somebody who will not talk about their crimes. They might either just give you a glossed over version, or they might not want to be talking about it at all. They might say, well, I'm not that person anymore. I found God. Whatever the case may be, if they're not willing to talk about why they're there and take responsibility for it, I would run. Because that's not somebody who is reformed. That's not somebody who has taken responsibility for what they've done. My own personal experience that I certainly haven't been incarcerated. I've never been arrested, never got it, never driven drunk, nothing. But anyway, many years ago when I was younger, I got married too young, too immature, and I had affairs, many affairs. I am very ashamed of it. And I beat myself up over it for a very long time because, of course, I was really angry with myself for doing it. But I also take ownership of it and say, yes, I did do those things. I did have affairs, but I don't do it anymore. I learned my lesson. Not everybody does. Not everybody cares, but I do. So, somebody who is, a reformed individual, they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you, yeah, I did it. This is what I did, but I'm not that person anymore. And they're not going to hide that from you. So I hope this helps you and gives you some good information you do decide to go forward with getting to know an inmate, I strongly, strongly encourage it. There are a lot of men and women out there who are incarcerated who maybe need a friend, or, they might not have anybody else to talk to. They get lonely. Maybe their families abandon them. That's what happened to my husband. But by all means, I do encourage you to get to know an incarcerated person, an inmate. There are a lot of good ones there. But always have watch out for those red flags. Just be safe. That's all I can say, is I don't want to see any of my wonderful people here get hurt. As always, if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, please go ahead and put them in the comments below. I always do read them, and I respond. If you do have any ideas for future topics, include those as well. I've got a couple things up here in my noggin that I am going to do in future episodes. But if you have any thoughts as well, please do let me know. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and like my video. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit that bell icon in the corner for being notified of new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.